Hello and welcome to We Random episode 25. Just a little tip for you. If you've got some really crazy nut job right-wing conspiracy theory dumbass ideas, maybe keep them to yourself. Just saying. I mean, the better option would be to not have them, but if you do, just shut your fucking mouth. More after this.
Almost Qualified Productions.
Let's get crazy!
Experts don't have this much fun.
Welcome to We Random, episode 25. I am Brian. That's Christopher. Say hello to the people, Christopher.
Hello, people.
Now, Christopher, you know that you cannot censor my opinions, right? I do not allow censorship. You need to give the people what they want, and you need to let them know that there were some shenanigans in that football game. That is not a conspiracy theory.
What?
Not a conspiracy theory. You want to see my guns? Wait, I don't have a gun. Anyway, welcome to We Random, episode 25. We have our random Wheel of Doom for you. We've got some nice topics there for your listening and viewing pleasure. We will go over those, and then we have a wonderful, fantastic random rankings for you.
Yes, sir.
So, Christopher, before we get started, do you have anything to say to the people, or do we want to jump right in the deep end of the pool here?
I say we just jump in head first with reckless abandon.
Cannonball!
All right, here we go.
Do it.
All right, so the first one is the Milwaukee Brewers did something, eh?
Yeah, the Milwaukee Brewers have not spent any money all winter, and they told us all winter that they didn't have any money, but apparently they found some money. So,
Yes.
The Milwaukee Brewers have signed free agent Colton Wong to a 2-year deal worth $18 million. There's a team option for a third year, which would make the deal 3 years, $26 million. Now, a couple of fun facts about Colton Wong. Wong has been the NL Gold Glove winner at second base the past 2 years. Wong has also had a defensive run saved of 16, 19, and 6 the last 3 years. Wong, a career .717 OPS hitter, has a high contact rate at about 85%, but has gone bonkers at Miller Park with a career batting average of .308. So, do you have any initial thoughts about this signing, Christopher?
You know, this is a step up from our normal signings, right? Like normally our goal, like Stern's goal is we want to find a guy who can play a bunch of positions. He plays all of them horribly, but he's also a horrible hitter. That's kind of what we go for, right? As long as they're cheap. So this is a guy who doesn't necessarily play all over the field, plays in one position, but he actually plays really, really well. And he's not a great hitter, but he's kind of okay. I mean, considering the team that's around him, he'll probably be like the third best hitter on the fucking team. So this is good. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really good. Wong will probably be somebody that's maybe towards the top of the lineup. He tends to have a pretty nice on-base percentage around, 350-ish, a little higher, a little lower, depending on the year, but I think he'll help there. One of the things that made me really excited about this is how he's kind of talked about working with Orlando Arcia. One quote that I saw was that he's already been in contact with Orlando Arcia, and his goal is to help Arcia get a Gold Glove. And I have
Nice.
always kind of been an Arcia stan, so to speak. So to hear like Wong want to like really help him and like bring him along, like I like that too, because I'm tired of the analytics people being like, Orlando Arcia is terrible. He has a WRC of 12 and it's bad. And I'm like, shut up. He gets to more balls than most shortstops could
Right.
ever want to get to. But I think this is going to be really interesting because there's a couple of ripple effects with this. So obviously Wong is primarily a second baseman. This isn't, like you said, them pulling some random guy and saying, here, go play second base.
Right.
He's going to be the second baseman, which means that then they look at their black hole at first base, and then they look at Dan Vogelbach and they go, Dan, we liked you. You were good for like the 16 seconds that you were here.
You were good,
But this is-
kid, you see? We found someone better.
but this is Keston's job now. So, what are your thoughts on Keston Hiura moving to first base as part of this shuffle?
I think anything that gets his glove out of second base is a good thing. I mean, I would much rather use a DH than a first baseman, but I mean, his bat is good, right? We want his bat in the lineup. His glove or his defense as a whole is not, so we don't want him in the field. I don't think he's a prototypical first baseman. I don't like him necessarily at first base. I'd rather see him DH, but who knows? Maybe he can be a decent first baseman. I don't know. At minimum, I'm not someone that puts a crap ton of focus on first base defense. I don't think it's the most important defensive position. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely an upgrade from whoever we had there as far as the whole package, right? Hitting and fielding. So I don't hate it.
And it's one of those things where if he can make the routine plays, then they'll be just fine. I mean, you're not going to ask him to make these long stretches and all of those kind of like flashy pants plays that you'll see guys like Freddie Freeman and them make. But
Yeah.
if he can make the regular old, hey, I caught the ball, you're throwing a double play, I think it'll be just fine. And I also feel like it's going to help him because one of his big issues has been throwing. So there's going to be some throwing at first base, obviously. Like there's the pitcher to the first baseman, and then there's some cutoff throws and things like that. But there, in theory, won't be as much throwing that he's going to need to do.
Yeah, Sean's got a good point in the chat though too. Is he says he's too short, move him to the outfield. I don't want him in the outfield. I don't even want him to touch the outfield. Like if the ball pops up over the first baseman's head and it's 10 feet into the grass, I want him to say, "I'm sorry, I can't go out there. That's the outfield." That's how much I want him not in the outfield. But the fact that he's short, I don't know how tall he is, but he's certainly not the prototypical like 6'5" first baseman. Like that makes a difference, right? Like his stretch isn't going to be the stretch that somebody who's much taller is going to have, you know. And you see how many bang plays there are at first base. What is the impact there? I mean, it's not night and day, but there's definitely a little bit of an impact there.
Well, and that was my initial like gut reaction when I heard about this is I feel like he's short, but I looked him up. They list him at 6 foot, right? So I'm sure that he's
It's like
probably
5'10".
5'8". But they also listed Eric Thames at 5'11". So if Eric Thames is 5'11", then are these guys basically the same height? Now again, Eric Thames is basically a mountain, so he might have not been very tall, but he's very wide. As to where, well, I mean, it's probably like Prince Fielder too. Like Prince isn't like huge, but he's just wide. So Keston's not wide, but he's also not tall. So it's going to be interesting. But you also have to think about the fact that they've played Hernan Perez at first base.
Yeah, I mean they play everybody there.
At first base. They've basically put the cardboard cutout of you at first base at some point, I think.
Probably, yeah. I mean, you might as well. I'm huge. Like I would block half the first baseline.
Well, I mean, but I think it's interesting. So that's good. Now, the other part of this is this has kind of gotten people ramped up again to say, what about Justin Turner? Can the Brewers sign Justin Turner? Because looking at a infield of Turner, Arcia, Wong, and Keston, that sounds pretty good. What are your thoughts on the whole Justin Turner thing while we're here?
Well, let's not forget that Justin Turner's a dick, right? This is the COVID Justin Turner, right? Am I right?
Justin Turner was COVID guy.
Yeah, so he's a dick. So, I mean, there's that. Let's put that out front. He's a dick. But I'd have to look up his numbers because I'll be honest, I'm not really sure what his numbers are. But from what I understand, he was a huge leader in the clubhouse in LA, and I certainly think that we could use somebody like that. I mean, you would think that the leader in the clubhouse is probably Yelich, but I don't know that he's a very vocal kind of guy. So somebody who could come in and really help kind of bring that team. That's the thing that until the end of my days, which might be tomorrow at this rate, that I think is the most important thing that Prince Fielder brought to this team many years ago. Like the guy hit a ton, but I think the thing that he did better than anybody is the way he just brought that team together and made them an amazing team. And I think that's one thing that this team could really use. And so if that alone is something that Justin Turner can bring, I think that's amazing. And it looks like he's a career almost 300 hitter. So that's not bad.
Yeah, and one of the things that I thought about this, like, is when I initially was looking at this, I was like, number one, I don't think that they're going to do it, so I'm not going to spend too much brain power on it. And then the second part is his age. He is getting up there, obviously. But
Yeah, yes.
thinking about this, the the time that my mind changed was when I started to think about Aramis Ramirez, because the Brewers made a big run for Aramis Ramirez, back in that was like the early 2010s, wasn't that right? Like right
Yeah, something
after,
like that.
I think it was the early 2010s. But they made a big run for Aramis Ramirez when he was towards the end of his career. And it kind of felt like he didn't do really well. But then when you go back and you look at those stats, you're like, he actually wasn't bad.
Hmm.
And if Turner could give them that type of stat line, at his age 36, 37 ish season, I'm okay with it. Now, again, you always have to look at what the money is, but if you're playing that role, think about the lineup. You'd have Turner, who can hit for a decent average and, give you some power. You've got Wong, who can hit for a decent average. You've got Keston, who can hit for lots of power. You've got Yelich, who can hit his own kneecap and maybe hit for some power. You'll have Kane back. You don't know exactly what you're going to get out of Kane at this
Right.
point, but hopefully he'll be a contributor. Avisail Garcia will be out there. So that could actually be a pretty potent lineup. And then whatever you get out of Arcia and the statue that we put at catcher is pretty good.
Yeah, I think the big thing is his age, right? Like, what's it going to take to bring this guy in? Um,
One, I think
it, it,
that's why he's not signed yet, right?
yeah,
Because he wants that like 2 or 3 year guaranteed like
yep,
big money, and teams are like, dude, you're 36, age
yeah,
regression is coming.
yep, yeah. I think that's the big thing, and unfortunately, when you're a team like the Brewers, you generally end up overpaying for people like that. That's what we did with Moose, right? We overpaid for Moose. We paid more than what he was worth, but that worked out for us. Don't get me wrong. But we definitely had to pay above market rate to get him to come to Milwaukee. So that might be what we're looking at with this guy. I just hope it's like I could deal with 2 years. Like if we have to eat 1 year and it's not an outrageous price, I can deal with that. I think if it's more than that, I'm not too crazy about that.
Yeah, I mean, I could do the two, and then it's like a team option,
Yeah,
like basically what they did with Wong's deal, right? Where you're
yeah,
like, hey, we'll give you your two, we'll do a team option and see what happens. But I mean,
yeah.
it'll be interesting. At least this does this make you feel any more positive about the Brewers, or are you still kind of feeling like they're just going to be the like stinky dumpster out back?
No, I still think they're going to be garbage. But how much money are they making from those big ass ugly signs they just put on the stadium? Like spend that money. That's what I want to see them do.
They had to spend that money to replace the sign on I-94 that said Miller Parkway to
Sure,
make
that's
it
so
Brewers
garbage. The next
Boulevard.
time I drive past that, I might just puke in my brand new car. All right, what
Well,
do you say we move on? We've talked about the Brewers quite a bit.
let's move on. It's nice to talk about the Brewers again. It feels good
Yeah,
to like talk about a topic without yelling.
that's true. I need to not yell as much. All right, let's spin it up, see what we got.
Honestly, I've been the one yelling. You've been the one that just kind of like sits there and takes it.
I'm kind of working on it. All right, EA Sports College Football. What's this all about? Is it in the game, B?
At some point, possibly. So, EA Sports has a plan to bring back their college football franchise video game. After last making a video game in 2013, EA Sports is planning to bring back their college football branded video game in the future. The EA Sports Vice President Daryl Holt has said, as we look for momentum that we're building in sports, it all starts with the passion of our fans and the opportunities of what they are interested in. I don't think there's a visit where I go outside wearing a piece of EA Sports branded apparel that someone doesn't ask me, when is college football coming back? Holt said that EA Sports is still in the beginning stages of game development for the game and deciding what direction they want the game to go in. Conversations about bringing the game back began over a year ago, and the combination of momentum of the company combined with the new technology it has seen from the next generation platforms, such as the Sony PS5 and the Xbox Series X, further bolstered its decision to return to the game. Now, EA Sports is planning to move forward without the previous name of NCAA football. It's just going to be called college football. And they'll be moving forward without rosters that include the names, images, or likenesses of real college players, as current NCAA rules prohibit this. However, those rules are likely to be changed at some point in the near future, either by the NCAA, state legislatures, or Congress. It's not yet clear whether these rules will allow for the kind of group licensing arrangements needed for EA Sports to negotiate with the athletes to use their names and likenesses in the game. So the TLDR here is the game won't be back for 2021, but gaming fans can hope that it'll be back soon. What are your thoughts, Christopher?
Dude, I'm jacked. Like, when I saw this, I was so excited. You know, as somebody who loves sports as much as I do, and somebody who loves video games as much as I do, you would think that I really, really love sports video games. But I don't really play a lot of sports video games. I mean, first of all, the only baseball game you can get is on the PS5. The only, real, quote unquote, real baseball game that you can get is on the PS5.
I think they changed that this year, didn't they?
No, they're thinking
I saw
about in the next
something.
year or two, they might port it out to the PC as well. So there's
I'm gonna have
that.
to Google that.
Madden is just infuriating. Like, I don't even like Madden. It's I liked it early on, but then it just became stupid. So I don't even play Madden. I used to play the basketball games quite a bit. Don't do that anymore. Soccer, like, I just don't play any of these. The closest I get, the only game I have installed on my computer that's a sports game is freaking Mega Star Baseball, which is just an arcadey baseball game. But that said, college football has always been, the NCAA football, always been my favorite sports game. I love the hell out of college football. Like, college football is just astronomically better as an overall experience than the NFL is. Like, hands down. You know, the excitement and the pomp and circumstance and the bands and the fans, and it's crazy how much I love college football. So that's been something that's missing. Not to mention the fact that as a Huskers fan, I can't run an option offense on Madden, pretty much no matter how hard I try. So, the whole, getting in there and you can create a player and, I can run the option with my Huskers and, you score and you got the school music playing. And it's just, I love the hell out of it. So this excites the hell out of me.
Yeah, so I did just throw something in the chat. MLB The Show 21 is coming to Xbox, by the way. So if you did ever want to play MLB The Show, you now have the opportunity to do so.
Well, that's
But-
great, except I don't have an Xbox. Well, I mean, I do, but I don't play on it.
But back to this. So I loved playing the college football games. I actually enjoyed those more than Madden, because the thing about Madden is eventually you just get into this cycle where like all of your players are like so good, and then you have all of these like financial decisions to make, and then you just end up cycling just like you do through a college football game, right? Because in a college football game, you have these folks for a maximum of 5 years. You bring somebody in, you redshirt them, you play them for 4 years, and they're gone. Like, I used to love that recruiting aspect, and then I would always try to build my team. I would legitimately have like a notebook with like every position, and I would say, okay, I've got 3 quarterbacks that are in their freshman year, which means that I'm okay, or I have like
Right.
4 of my offensive linemen are graduating this year, so I need to make sure that I'm recruiting offensive linemen and like stuff like that. So I used to love that,
Yeah,
because
the recruiting is so much fun.
it is, and it used to really make me happy to like get people that I wanted, and then I would be like super sad if I missed out on people that I did. Like, I honestly would, and I'm not ashamed to admit this, I'm a perfectionist. Like, I would sim, and then if it didn't go the way that I wanted, I would like reset and then sim again to like see if something would change, because sometimes it would,
Yeah.
where it would be like, it would almost be like a coin flip in the system where like it might say, oh, they've signed with Syracuse, or like they've signed with you. And then
Yeah.
it's like, I would also be the vindictive dick where like if somebody's like, I'm transferring to Northwestern or wherever, like I would make sure that I play the school that they transferred to the next year. And I'd be like, no championship for you.
Yeah,
So-
it's so much fun. It's by and large the best sports game. My favorite sports game. I should say best, but my favorite sports game. Yeah, and then based on your link here, MLB the Show coming to Xbox makes a ton of sense. I'm just waiting for it to come to PC. I'm so ecstatic because then I will definitely be playing a sports game.
Got you. Yeah. And the other thing about this, just so that my wife knows, at some point, if this game comes out, I may possibly need to buy a PS5. But for now,
Oh, damn.
I don't. But for now, I don't think that needs to happen. But for now, that doesn't need to happen because I played a Madden franchise for like a good 3 months, and then now my team is good, and I'm just like, I don't have the energy for this. So right now, that Madden franchise is just hanging out and chilling. But once I can recruit again, might be back on, Big C.
There you go. All right, I'm going to spin it up.
Spin it.
We're about 20 minutes in, just so you know, time check. Ooh, this is interesting. BLM, Black Lives Matter curriculum. What is
All
this?
right. So this was an article that I saw and kind of came across, and I figured, again, as we try to do here, is we try to pull topics from kind of all sides of the spectrum, right? So there was a political scientist, Carol Swain, who derided the Black Lives Matter curriculum, arguing that it hurts students and destroys the Black community. The political scientist said, the curriculum put forth by Black Lives Matter and being embraced in too many places is destructive of the Black community, the Black family, and racial justice. The political scientist was a former professor at Vanderbilt and Princeton, continued to say, it doesn't help Black people, it doesn't help white people, it doesn't help America. I would strongly encourage everyone who cares about education to go to the Black Lives Matter website and learn more about them and their principles, because there's nothing there that advances our society in a way that's beneficial. One of the things that Swain took issue with in particular was the queer affirming and trans affirming principles promoted by the Black Lives Matter curriculum.
Wait. So she doesn't have a problem with it talking about Black people. She has a problem with it talking about gay and trans people?
That was one thing that she specifically highlighted. But I did want to let some of the people know about some of the Black Lives Matter guiding principles. So number one, restorative justice, committed to collectively, lovingly, and courageously working for freedom and justice for Black people and by extension, all people. Number two, empathy. We all kind of know what empathy is, or we should. We are committed to practicing empathy and engaging with the intent to learn about and connect with other people. Loving engagement. We are committed to embodying and practicing justice, liberation, and peace. Number four, diversity. Number five, globalism. Number six, queer affirming. We're committed to fostering a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking. Trans affirming, kind of same deal, right? Collective value, intergenerational, Black families, Black villages. So this curriculum, this political scientist is saying, hey, this is bad for Black people, this is bad for white people, this is bad for everybody. What are your thoughts, Christopher?
Well, so first of all, this article and this interview was on Fox News. So let's take that for what you will.
It was, but that was intentional, right? Like we need to look at both sides of what's being said.
Oh, I'm fine with that. I think that you find a very specific subset of people on Fox News, right? And I think that a lot of times we have people who aren't sensible. I think what this woman's saying isn't sensible. I think the fact that this is a woman who calls out specifically that she has issues with and I'm going to look for what that quote is again, queer affirming and trans affirming principles. So she's just hating on fucking people is what she's doing. And she's doing this under the guise that she is a Black woman. Let's not be, beat around the bush here. There's a reason why Fox News brought a Black woman on to share views about how she doesn't like Black Lives Matter, right? It automatically lends some credibility to her comments because she is a Black person, right? This is something that impacts her, that she has had to deal with in her life in some way, shape, or form, right? I think all this is somebody coming on and spewing hate. That's all this reads to me. I can't get beyond that. Maybe that's a fault of mine, but yeah, I'm hung up there.
Well, and where I get hung up is the whole thing, okay, this doesn't help anyone and there's nothing that advances our society. So again, that's why I wanted to look at the principles. So, what about having empathy doesn't advance society, right? What about collectively and encouraging people for freedom and justice? What about that doesn't enhance society, right? Like we're looking at these things. So even if we're going to the queer affirming and trans affirming, what about that doesn't advance society, right? Like this is where we're almost getting into, and this really goes into how people are treating politics almost as religion at this point, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like you will only believe this and you can only believe this. And if you don't believe this, then it's wrong and it doesn't help you and it's not good. And that is the part of this that is challenging to me, because if you as a person say, well, that type of lifestyle isn't for me, okay, sure, you have the right to say that. But to say that other people should not be open to and allowing and affirming of other people's individual characteristics, I think that that's honestly bullshit. Because, this person, somebody might say to me, oh, well, you need to let this person also have their individual opinion. They do. I can say that that's bullshit, but they can have their opinion. I'm not telling them that they can't have that opinion.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, how then do you reconcile the fact that your opinion is, by expressing that opinion, marginalizing other people? Because you're basically saying that anyone who identifies as queer, anyone who identifies as trans, anyone who identifies with this curriculum as something that helps them, you're basically saying, nope, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this list of the guiding principles, and there's nothing here that anyone should have any issue with, right? Like I can imagine some of those idiots who stormed the Capitol and their ilk, have an issue with a group who specifically calls out wanting to empower black women. They're empowering people to be unapologetically black, right? I can definitely understand that some of those jackholes are going to have issues with that, but as a hopefully somebody with more than a 17 IQ, I mean, what's wrong with empathy? What's wrong with loving engagement? What's wrong with people who are okay with gay, with queer and trans people, right? Like this is a country, this is a world that we live in now, and if you're taking issue with that, you're the fucking problem. Period. I mean, there's nothing more for me to say.
Yeah, I don't really think there is any more to say, because I think that is the biggest problem that we have right now in America, is that people, and this gets into people saying, oh, well, it's cancel culture, but it's not necessarily cancel culture to hold somebody accountable for trying to push someone else down to pull themselves up, right?
Right.
That's accountability. And I don't want to get us off topic, but I'm going to get us off topic because we random. It's the entire freaking name of the show, right?
Yeah.
But like, this is the whole thing with our good old friend of the show, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, people were all upset and frustrated and like, well, why did she get removed from her committees? Because she was saying stuff like, oh, these shootings didn't exist. She's saying that all of these parents who lost their children in a school fucking shooting, that their shooting was planned and it didn't exist. She is basically taking their pain and taking their suffering and trivializing it. She is being held accountable for that.
Yep.
That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be held accountable when you are trivializing someone else's experience. And she can be like, oh, well, you're trivializing my experience. How are we trivializing your experience when we're not saying anything bad about you? We're just saying what you have said has been harmful to other people.
I mean, I'll say bad stuff about her.
Well, before you do that, let's spin the wheel and move on.
I one final point on this, because I think it's fair. I understand why you added this to the list, and I appreciate that. And here's one thing that I don't agree with anything this woman says, but she also mentions that she has an issue with the goal of zero tolerance for discipline. The last thing the black community, this is a quote, the last thing the black community needs in schools is a situation where there's no discipline. Part of the problem that affects the community is the disrespect for authority. That's why there's so much turmoil in the black community. I mean, she's welcome to have that opinion. I don't necessarily think that's true. I also think that there's an issue where, there's, and I don't have facts to back this up. It's something that we could certainly look up. But I feel safe in saying that discipline is like most everything else is probably disproportionate, right? Based on the color of your skin. So again, I can understand where this comes from, but again, I mean, it's just like anything else. As soon as you attack a group, and I have a big heart for the gay community, the LGBTQI community, right? I have a big heart for that. It's a community that I do, you know, I don't want to say a lot of work, but I do some work to support in different capacities. So as soon as you jump on that train, I'm sorry, but you've lost me. So any other point that you might make that might even resemble a solid point, it's getting flushed in the trash. So I thought I was going to give her a little bit of credit, and then in the end, I just trashed her again. So I'm just going to spin the wheel and shut up.
Sounds like a plan.
Speaking of diversity, tell me about Coca-Cola.
So Coca-Cola, which is going to probably be a advertiser in the big game, Coca-Cola Company has launched one of the legal industry's most rigorous outside counsel diversity programs. Their new program requires law firms to give a portion of work to Black attorneys specifically, and they have threatened to withhold a non-refundable 30% of fees from those groups that fail to meet their diversity staffing metric. So we have the General Counsel, Bradley Guyton. He has said, "We will no longer celebrate good intentions or highly unproductive efforts that haven't and are not likely to produce better diverse staffing. It's the results we are demanding, and we will measure this going forward." So Coca-Cola is forcing the outside counsel that it hires to staff at least 30% of new cases with diverse attorneys, with at least half of that billable time going to Black lawyers in particular. The individual said that he hopes to increase the overall diverse billable hour staffing requirement to 50% within the next 2 years. So, a couple of fun notes for you. Well, not fun, but despite continued conversations about diversity and inclusion, in 2019, only 36% of law firm attorneys were women and less than 17% were people of color, according to the National Association for Law Placement's most recent diversity report. Since 2010, representation of Asian, Black, and Hispanic lawyers among law firm partners has risen by less than 2 percentage points each, and none of these groups have broken 4% of total partners. So, you were the one who kind of sent this to me, Christopher, and then I kind of went on a tangent because I do that sometimes. So I'll let you talk about this before I go on my tangent on our podcast.
All right, so yeah, B and I had this conversation earlier this week, and I wish I could have bottled that all up and put it into here. So I won't tip your hand because I'm guessing that you're going to go the same direction. But I 100% back what Emily's comment was. Wow, like I read this and it was like, holy shit! Like this isn't just throwing down the gauntlet. This is like picking up the suit of armor with Sir Lancelot in it and dropping it down the stairs. I mean, this is like, wow, right? And I think it's amazing. I mean, the where's that quote? We will no longer celebrate good intentions or highly unproductive efforts that haven't and aren't likely to produce better diverse staffing. Like this is insane, right? Like, and this is the crux of it. If you think about it, the first thing I mentioned to Brian is the fucking Rooney Rule. Isn't that what it's called in the NFL, where, you know, you quote unquote have to interview a minority candidate, but they don't do that. Like they already know who they're going to hire. Maybe they bring in some guy who's a street sweeper outside of Lambeau Field and say, hey, you know, you're a Black guy, so we're going to pretend we're interviewing you for a head coach job. Okay, have a nice day. Then we're going to hire the old white guy back, right? It's just garbage. It doesn't do anything. And that's really what this is saying is, I'm sure there are other initiatives and other, you know, things that are put in place to try to help the diversity of the people that they're working with. But this is like, I don't care if you're trying. I don't care if, you know, you're doing a good job. I don't care if you're giving your all. You need to show me results, period. End of story. And if you think about it, like if I went to my boss at the end of the year and I said, hey, I didn't do any work this year. I didn't deliver anything. Like all those projects I was on, I did nothing. But I tried really hard. I'm not going to have a fucking job. It's just that simple, right? And so that's what I love about this is just kind of throwing down that gauntlet and saying, yo, we need to make this work, period. So what are your thoughts, B?
I mean, I agree with what you said, right? But I also look at this from the perspective of I would want to know more about what is the pool of available talent that's out there, right? Because what I would guess, and I think this is something that came out in our conversation, it's not like any person could just walk off the street and immediately be a lawyer. That's a long term progression from I want to be a lawyer to I am a lawyer. So I feel like one of the things that they really need to do is work on the pipeline as well, because sure, if you have, and wasn't the number that you said is like 5% of the whole population of people who are lawyers, black? Wasn't that
Yeah, I think
something?
it was something like that. Yeah.
So it's like, if we're looking at a 5% pie, like how many people is that? And then how do you get those people? And what do you do? Do you have to pay them more? Are you paying them away for like they're like, yes, like we want to increase this, but we also to increase our yield to increase our overall numbers at the top too. This is something that for us we do in higher education all the time. We go, oh, we really want to hire, you know, people of color for, our faculty, and we really want to hire black people for our administrative staff, and we really want to hire for X, Y, and Z. But a lot of these positions require advanced degrees. And then the folks that have the advanced degrees where you could hire them, they've got 74 job offers from any college in the, United States. So it's like, unless you can pay them, triple what you might pay somebody else, like they're not coming. So I feel like it's a multifaceted approach, and like, yes, we're looking at the top and we're like trying to shake up the top as much as we can, but I feel like we also need to shake up the bottom, kind of like this Apple thing, right? Like Apple is
Hmm.
starting at the bottom.
Yeah.
Apple is saying, we want you as a person of color, we want you as someone who's just kind of interested in tech, walk in these doors and get started. Like I feel like that's what we also need to do to cultivate these higher level positions, because to get someone through the door, you're obviously going to have attrition along the way. And that attrition at the top, like, yes, those people should be used, those people should be rewarded for their merit, but we need more. This is my Zeke Elliott feed me of the week. We need more. Zeke Elliott feed me of the week. Like we need to get this happening from ground zero to the top, because if we're doing this at the top, that's great. And maybe they're hoping that people will see, oh, like there's maybe a route for me, and then it will encourage some of that like trickle up or whatever you want to call it. But that's my only and biggest concern with this.
Yeah, and I agree. And we had this conversation, right? And kind of the direction I took was, well, you just have to go out and get them, right? And I agree. I think that maybe what that leads to is how do you cultivate that, right? So here's an analogy that I just kind of came up on the fly, right? And I'm looking at a picture of a Honus Wagner T206 baseball card. Now, if anybody out there has ever collected baseball cards, this is like the holy grail of baseball cards. In October of last year, it sold for, this one here, sold for $3.25 million for this one little card. And it's legitimately a little card. Now, B, if you had the opportunity to create one of these from scratch and sell it for $3.25 million, wouldn't you do that?
Sure.
Right. It's supply and demand, right? The reason it's so expensive, there's not a lot out there. So the correlation I'm making is if you've got firms that are being forced and pushed into hiring minority candidates, black candidates, we need you to hire black lawyers. Then all of a sudden they're going to say the same thing you're saying, which is, well, we don't have enough black lawyers. Well, great. You can't make another T206 Honus Wagner card, but what you can do is you can invest in initiatives that are going to help more black lawyers come to be, right? You can invest in black schools. You can invest in scholarships for black students, send them to law school. There's a lot of things that you can do to help that. And that's what I see in initiatives like this doing, because you're putting the onus on them. You're saying you have to have results. If you don't have results, you're not getting paid. It's that simple. And so you're going to pressure them to make sure they're doing everything they can to make that happen. And eventually, hopefully, that's going to get to the point where that turns into, well, let us help cultivate this community of black lawyers or people of color, lawyers who are people of color, and let's bring that whole group up and have more representation. And that's where I think the real win is.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, and I guess I always look at that as a long-term proposal, and I think that's
Sure.
probably I think that's my higher ed bias because everything moves very slowly in higher education. But I mean, we can keep our fingers crossed and see how this goes.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's spin the wheel.
All right, I was gonna look at the time and see if we had time, but we can probably do one more. All right, so the one that came up is MVP of the people, but not the Super Bowl.
So this is actually a very good transitional topic for the random rankings,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Yeah.
So, 12 months ago, many would have expected Laurent Duvernay-Tardif to be taking the field for the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend in back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. Instead, he has opted out of the 2020 season to work at the COVID-19 stricken long-term care facility near his native Montreal, putting to use the medical degree that he earned from McGill University, which he finished during his first 4 years of pro football. He has traded his helmet for a mask and face shield. He's got a medical degree, but did not have a license to practice. But once things started kind of popping off with COVID in North America, he called Canadian health authorities wanting to help and offered to see what he could do. He was then sent to this long term care facility to help out with the pandemic. While at the facility, he was training for football, assuming that the pandemic would abate by the fall and he would be able to get back to football. By July, and as training camp approached, he realized that it probably wasn't going to happen, and he started thinking about sitting out the season. When asked about what things have been like, he said the past 7 months have redefined his notion of heroism, but reinforced how much he values sports. He believes he made the right decision, but at times he questioned it, and he wonders how he will feel about it a decade from now. So I think that this is something that's actually really cool. Like when it initially came out, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I forgot about it. But now, again, seeing it like this, like his team is in the Super Bowl, and he legitimately stepped away after winning the Super Bowl last year, like legitimately winning the Super Bowl to go help people with COVID.
Yeah.
This is really cool. What are your thoughts, Christopher?
This is insane. Like, you know, a lot of people refer to people in sports as heroes, right? But this is a dude who, you know, who knows how much he was making, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands at the minimum, right? To play a game. That was his career. He won a Super Bowl. He very well could have been part of another Super Bowl. We'll find out in a couple days when Tom Brady, you know, loses, hopefully. Anyway, I mean, this is a serious situation, right? Like we don't need to rehash how big of an issue COVID is, right? Everybody knows how big of an issue it is. But this is somebody who really put his life at risk, right? Put his career at risk for sure, not just because he's stepping away, but because we know that this disease has continuing effects that could impact somebody especially who's performing at that kind of a level. Like these are a lot of things that he had to take into consideration, and yet he stepped away because that's where he felt his calling was. I applaud this dude. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm looking up his contract right now. It looks like he stepped away from what would have been basically $4 million this year.
That's a pretty legit chunk of money right there.
Yeah, because he had signed a big contract, so it looks like it says his average salary is 8,047,000 something, and he had a bunch of guarantees. So it looks like they had front loaded his deal because he got like 8 last year in 2019, and then like this year he basically had kind of his whatever roster bonus because they just canceled it out because he sat out. But he really did step away from a pretty nice chunk of change there.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you know, football players don't play for, like, it's easy for you and me to look at 8 million and say, fuck, I could retire immediately, right? And like anybody really could if they use their money wisely, but still, it's not like you can be a football player for 30 years, right? Like you got a very, very small window where you can earn the money that you can, and hopefully you then turn that into whatever the rest of your life is, and it looks like this guy's going to be helping people, which is super, you know, honorable. So I mean, that's a big thing to do, and to do that and step into a place where you're putting yourself at risk, your family at risk, and you're doing this to help other people. I mean, that's super noble. That's good stuff.
It is. Yeah, I mean, this guy's in his age 29 season, so he's going to be 30. So it's not like he's a young
Yeah.
guy who's got, 15 more years in the league. But I think it just says a lot about the character of a person that says, you know what, like I can go do this other thing. And a lot of the stuff that was said about him kind of in the article that we linked and some of the stuff that I read, it's like people are like, he's just a unique kind of dude.
Yeah.
So, hopefully they like what would be ideal is like they win and they just still give the dude a ring. They say, here, man, like have one.
That would be super cool. Like that would be a
So,
really stand-up thing to do.
yeah. So in any case, I feel like that's a really nice, happy note to end the talkie talk part of the podcast. What do you say we move on to random rankings? So we are going. So what does Wiggum say? Tom Brady can play for 30 years, or at least he's trying. Well, that's because Tom Brady's knees are made of metal, and they've assembled a giant group of men to stand around him so he doesn't get hit or sacked. But
Pretty much,
on,
yeah.
on to our favorite part of the show, random rankings. Today, we are going to talk the big game 55 prop bets. So, a prop bet or a proposition bet is a wager that doesn't necessarily correlate with the outcome of a game. Instead of betting on wins and losses, a total score, or a point spread, we can bet on anything that we want. So, there are lots of different prop bets out there for the big game, and we are going to take them. So, Sconzi and I each picked 4 prop bets that we were interested in. And if you want to be part of the secret Patreon group that Sconzi hasn't, it's not a secret at all, right?
It's really
But
not.
the Patreon group was able to select 2 props for us to pick as well.
And
So-
we're gonna open it up for you in chat. So if you're here live with us, we're gonna slow roll this a little bit. So if you're here, you get to participate too. So do you want me to just dive into the way that we're doing the scoring?
Definitely. Take it.
All right, so I am not a mathematician, so I can't promise that this scoring makes any sense whatsoever. But here's the deal. I should probably show, like, I wish I had something to show. But when you see the odds, and I'll probably pull this up on, I should have done this ahead of time, but I'll probably just pull up the spreadsheet so you can see it. So the odds come in negative numbers or positive numbers, right? A negative number, basically, what is it? If you bet 100, this is how much you have to bet to win $100. Is that what it is? So if you're minus 120, you'd have to bet $120 to win $100. I think that's what it is. And vice versa. What is it? If it's a positive number, that's how much you'd win if you bet $100. Am I saying that right, B?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So the positive numbers are the underdogs, basically. So the way that the point scaling is going to go is if you're betting on a favorite, doesn't matter how much of a favorite they are, the most you can do is you get 1 point out of it. So for instance, the first one we're going to do is who's going to win MVP. Patrick Mahomes is a favorite. If you pick Patrick Mahomes and he wins the MVP, you get 1 point. But if you bet on an underdog, you get 1 point plus you get 1% of whatever their odds are. So for instance, Tom Brady is an underdog and his number, whatever it is positive 190. So if you bet, we're not betting, chat. If you pick Tom Brady and Tom Brady is the MVP, you get 1.19 points. So you get a little bit extra if you bet on an underdog. So that's what we're going to do. And then we're just going to add up the points for the hell of it. And we'll see who picked the best.
This is our own version of like Dogecoin, right?
Yes, exactly. Meme coin. Yeah.
Didn't we talk about doing scoins eventually?
We got scoins. Scoins are in the channel right now.
Oh, I was going to say that these could be our scoins.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, I mean, I could give scoins out to the winner. We could do that, maybe. I don't know if that's against any rules or regulations or
Probably
something.
is, so we're not going to do
probably
that. Again, there are major corporations sponsoring this event, so we're not going to do anything like that. But do you want to start picking our props here?
Yeah, so let me...
Also,
Mac-
should we invite Old Man Wiggum to play in the chat?
Everybody in chat can play.
All right, I'm going to put a column in our thing for Wiggum so that we can track what he puts in.
Yeah, I figured I was going to add one for anybody who joined in as they
Gotcha.
joined in. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, so
let's see. We're going to do a window capture. Let me add. Okay, there we go. So, chat, you should see this crazy spreadsheet that I worked on. It's a very simple spreadsheet. Don't get carried away. It's nothing exciting. But this is what we're working on right here.
Yep.
So the first one, let me actually zoom in a little bit. Can I zoom in?
You should be able to.
Zoom in. No, it's not letting me zoom in. We'll do it up here. Oh shit. Okay, we're zoomed in. All right, so the first one is MVP chat. So the favorite for MVP is Patrick Mahomes. The other ones that we got listed is Tom Brady, Tyreek Hill, and what is it, Chad Kelsey? Is that right?
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelsey. And then anybody else is 250. So chat, if you want to join in, go ahead and let us know who you're going to be voting for. And I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes because that just seems to make the most sense. B, what do you think?
I'm gonna resist my urge to pick Leonard Fournette. You know, Leonard Fournette, baby, he's not too fast. But I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes too.
All right. Wiggum is expectingly going with Tom Brady. Emily's in. She's going with Mahomes.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and give it a couple seconds here. If anybody else wants to join in, you're more than welcome.
Yep. And I will tell you all about the next one. So we have who will be shown first, and I believe, and I don't know. I would have to Google this. I should have Googled this. It's who will be shown first, Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski. So I will need to get clarification about when does that start, because any of these prop bets always have a specific, this happens here.
That's a good point. Let me see. I've got my thing here. Why don't you keep talking and I'll see if I can hunt it down.
So I will keep talking. So I'm going to assume that that's going to be as soon as the broadcast starts, who will be shown first. So right now, Travis Kelce is actually the favorite and Rob Gronkowski is the underdog. I think, though, depending on what our friend Christopher finds out, I almost feel like Gronk would be the one that gets shown first. Because he'll be like,
okay, wait. I'm gonna interrupt you. This is
breaking news.
specifically during the national anthem who will be shown first. And it does say people in the background do not count towards the wager. So there you go.
I'm still going to take Gronk. Why not?
Clean sweep for Gronk right there. Everybody's in on Gronk.
Nice. All right. So if we win, we get 1.15 points.
That's right.
Now, I'm going to skip down here because make life a little easier, because we had one about the national anthem, but I think it might actually, did that one not make this list?
Yeah, it's the next one right there. You got it highlighted.
All right. How long will it take Jasmine's? It's the national anthem one.
Oh, you jumped onto that one.
Yep, because this is actually going to impact the other one.
Okay.
So, how long will it take Jasmine Sullivan or Eric Church to sing the U.S. national anthem? You have two options. You can go with 119 seconds or less, which is a minute and 59 seconds, or you can go with 120 seconds or more, which is more than 2 minutes. So, the favorite right now is under 119 seconds, and the underdog is 2 minutes or more. What do you have on this one, Christopher?
Oh, well, this is easy. It's got to be 2 minutes or more.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go with too. So, but my whole thought about this is I have a friend. He always, when we used to be able to go to Brewers games, you know, RIP Miller Park, and actually being able to leave the house, but he would always time the national anthem. And he would always tell me anything over 120 is a shame. So, you know, I would legitimately, and you can vouch for this, like I would look at my phone and wait for that text message.
Yep.
Because his partner would text me and say he was pleased with this or he was not pleased with this. And it's always my favorite thing. So I'm going the over, and I know that my guy is going to be disappointed, even though I know he's not watching the Super Bowl. He's probably watching like the Puppy Bowl and the Cat Bowl, though.
Right. All right. So we got a split in the chat.
Okay.
Wiggum's going under and Emily's going over.
All right. So Wiggum is the outlier. I don't know if I feel good about that.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's scroll back up, and we've got this one right here, B.
All right. So We have, will any scoring drive take less time? So we're assuming then that a scoring drive will be like, and this is 2 minutes of clock time, I'm assuming, not 2 minutes of like real life time.
I don't think it said, but let me do a quick search. Will any scoring drive take less time? It doesn't say.
So the heavy favorite is yes. So
Which is kind of crazy.
well, I feel like if it's a 2 minute and it's game time, you can totally have a scoring drive in 2 minutes of game
That's true.
time, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So I am gonna throw my X on a yes.
All right. I'm also gonna do an X, and yes. Wiggs and Emily.
I'm thankful that Wiggum and Emily are playing because I feel like all of our picks are the same.
So far, yeah.
Hey.
In fact, there's not a lot of shakeup here so far. But this one's going to shake it up right here. This is my favorite question every year. What color will the first liquid be that is poured on the game-winning coach? And they're all basically underdogs of some sort or another.
They are.
So there's a lime, green, and yellow with no W.
Yep.
Orange, red,
yellow,
clear or water, blue, and purple. So this is going to shake us up. So we've got Wiggum's going orange.
Okay.
Emily's going red. What do you got on this one, B?
So I was actually listening to a show that was talking about prop bets, and they told me that I need to hammer red because both of these teams wear red, so I'm hammering red.
Ooh, that's a good thought. I like that. I like that. I really want to choose purple because it's kind of like my whole online color thing. But like nobody ever drinks the purple stuff. I'm kind of thinking red. I'm sorry, I'm thinking orange because isn't that like the default one, orange or
I feel like orange was the one last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go orange.
All right.
Yeah. I went with Wiggum, so you know that means I'm screwed. All right, so let's move on to this one. Who will the Super Bowl MVP, which as you remember is going to be Patrick Mahomes, mention in his speech first? Teammates, God, the city, family or friends, or someone else?
I'm going to let you answer this one while I Google the words, does Patrick Mahomes love God?
I'm pretty sure that he does, actually. God, this is always a good one. So Emily's going family. Okay. I am going to go with teammates. I know that's the favorite, but Wiggum's with me on that one. Patrick Mahomes I could see that, but yeah, I think teammates has got to be the right answer. Yeah, like, I mean, that's probably not what Tom Brady would do because he's a dick, but everyone else, that's what they should do.
Tom Brady would start talking about eating plants and
some garbage.
Anyway, Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes is not one to shy away from his Christian faith, saying that I'm glorifying him, but I'm still choosing teammates because he'll say, because it'll basically be like the whole line. It's like, I couldn't have done this without my teammates and without God and without my spouse and everything else. And then, it'll be Damian Williams will come in and be like, I'm the Super Bowl MVP again.
He is very much a teammate first kind of guy, I think. So
it's true. So clean sweep for teammates, except for Emily, who went with family or friends. So
yeah,
maybe this is where Emily could take us down.
That's true. All right. So what is the position of the first touchdown scorer?
So the position of the first touchdown scorer. This applies to any team. So which position scores the first touchdown in the game? Is it a wide receiver? Will it be Chris Godwin or Mike Evans or Tyreek Hill or our good old friend, the Lizard King, Sammy Watkins? Will it be a running back or fullback? Will it be Clyde Edwards-Helaire or a fullback or Leonard Fournette? Will it be a tight end? Will it be Cameron Brate? Will it be, who knows who the Chiefs tight ends are behind Travis Kelce? Or will Tom Brady run in that quarterback sneak? Or will Sean Murphy Bunting grab somebody by the collarbone again and steal the ball and run it in for a touchdown to go with other?
Dude, that defense would be a killer if you got that one right. That
It
would be
would. So
impressive.
what are you going with here, Christopher?
I'm going to let you go first because I don't want you to steal my answer.
I'm going tight end.
You can't do that because that's what I'm doing too. Yeah, I'm totally all in on the tight ends. I think that's the sweet spot. I really was leaning towards wide receiver because I could really see Tyreek Hill being the first guy to really go off and bust one. I really see that happening, but
I saw that Cameron Brate came up on the injury report today, and I was like, no, that kills my Cameron Brate is the first touchdown scorer in this game prop.
by
Because
the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I don't even know who Cameron Brate is. I'd never heard his name until today. Today, I was predisposed, we'll say, and I happened to turn on ESPN for the first time in about 20 years. I shit you not. Outside of watching an actual sport event, like an actual watch people on ESPN talk about shit. You know what they're talking about?
Cameron Brate.
Fucking Tom Brady. So see ya for another 20 fucking years, ESPN.
Nice. All right. So are we moving on to our next one?
Moving on up.
All right. Well, this is my favorite prop on the board. Which coach's nostrils will be the first to be seen on the broadcast? Or, as we know this, a mask malfunction. So, Bruce Arians, the coach of the Tampa Bay, he is the heavy favorite at -200. Andy Reid is at 150, so he's the underdog. Who do you got here, Christopher?
You know, I'm doing some really quick Googling to see if I can find a picture because I know that I think Andy Reid used to use like a mask in front, right? But it looks like he might have changed from that because that's kind of like
Andy Reid used the mask, but then it fogged up on him too much. So now he wears like the giant, it almost looks like people, I don't want to use the derogatory term that people have used on the internet, but it basically looks like he's wearing a large undergarment upon his face.
Is it a thong? Is that what they said?
No.
Because it kind of looks like maybe a thong. Anyway, regardless of what it is. Oh, this is interesting. Wiggum asked the same thing. Doesn't he wear a clear shield? Apparently not anymore. I thought he did too.
He did for the first game of the year, but he didn't like it. So now he switched to that big giant, it looks like he's got like a cone on his face, basically.
Yeah. So it looks like Bruce Arians was wearing a clear mask for a while too.
Arians still wears the clear mask.
Well, that's what I'm going with then. Because I think it's just I figure someone will be in there with just the clear mask and it'll be like a cheap win.
I was going to hammer Arians because Arians does not know how to keep his mask on. He wears the mask, but then he wears his other mask below his chin. And I'm like, Bruce, why do you even have the mask on at this point?
I just like the name Bruce. Nice.
We need to
clean sweep.
We need Nickelodeon to do that infomercial of how to wear a mask for a grown man.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so now we are down to the two choices from the patrons. So how many times will the Patriots be mentioned? Over 2 times or under 2 times? I wish that they had an option for over 17 times because that's what I would choose.
So when is the category for this? Is this during the game? Is it during pregame?
No, I think it's during the game, but I'll double check. Let's see. Oh, I don't want to bookmark that. Get out of here. How many times will the Patriots be mentioned? Excludes halftime and commercials, live broadcast over, and according to the Super Bowl transcript. So I would imagine as soon as the actual, when they start with the whole music and whoever,
Gotcha.
Troy and Joe Buck or whoever is announcing and start talking, that would be my guess.
Got you. So I'm gonna kind of stay water here, and I'm gonna go with the over as well.
Yep, everybody's over. Old Man Wiggum is over. And yes, Emily, you both actually chose the exact same one. You both chose the same 2. All right, so here we go. The last one. How many commercials will feature a dog?
I am pounding this over so hard. Over.
Over 4.5, huh? That's pretty heavy.
But think about it. There's probably 30 commercials, and when we say featured, it doesn't have to be the primary thing, but there's a dog in the commercial.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like
Emily, is
there's
that
gonna be like 6 car commercials where people have a dog. It's gonna be like, look at my dog and look at my car. Look at my dog and look at my car.
that's probably fair. I was totally going to take the under and you talked me into it. Now we're all the same, man. Like nobody's going to win this thing because we're all going to have the same number at the end.
It's all gonna come down to the Gatorade, but that's the way that it should be. That means we have to watch the whole game to figure out who wins.
Feature is a key word. He's choosing under. Okay.
Well, and the prop didn't actually specifically say what feature meant either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, so let's scroll through one more time. We'll see where we're at, see if anybody wants to change any votes. Got to be quick on the keyboard over there, chat. MVP. 3 of us chose Mahomes. 1 of us took a slight underdog in Tom Brady. Who will be shown first, Travis Kelce or Rob Gronkowski? This is a clear sweep for Rob Gronkowski. Will any scoring drive take less time than it takes for the national anthem to be sung? Everybody says yes, which is a pretty clear favorite, it looks like. What color will the first liquid be that is poured on the game-winning coach? 2 people chose orange, 2 people chose red, so a little bit of difference there. How long will it take for the national anthem? 3 of us said more than 2 minutes, or 2 minutes or more. 1 person said less than 2 minutes. Who will the Super Bowl MVP mention first in his speech? 3 people said teammates. Emily said family or friends. Position of the first touchdown scorer, 2 of us on tight end, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back or fullback. A little bit of differentiation there. Which coach's nostrils will be the first to be seen on the broadcast? All of us on Bruce Arians. How many times will the Patriots be mentioned? All of us think more than twice. How many commercials feature a dog? 3 of us say over 4.5. 1 of us says under 4.5. I don't see anything in chat about changes, so it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. We're all awful close. But, yeah, I think we're good if nobody wants to change anything. B, do you want to kick us off with our extra, fuck, what the hell is it called? Extra point.
Extra point. It's the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, whatever it is. Kick us off.
So I don't really have a whole lot for my extra point this week. It's just been, like I was saying at the outset, it's been a interesting week. So just kind of been focusing on work, keeping my head down, doing a lot of shoveling. So I think in the end, like that's okay. It kind of comes back to the extra points that you've been talking about. It's like sometimes you have to be okay with being okay with what's been going on, and you just have to take what the universe brings you, and you have to do what you can, and you have to be in your moment. One of the things that I did this week is there's some different games that I play on my phone, and one of the games is like an interactive like storybook, and there was a scene where like you are with this person but like they're dying and things like that, but like they're like kind of trying to pump you up and like telling you that like even if I am no longer here with you, like I'm rooting for you, like I'm going to be watching you, I'm going to be there supporting you, so go live a life worth watching. And like that's something that actually really resonated with me. And even in these times where like I'm just going with the flow, I think about that. I'm like, am I living a life worth watching? Because I'm content. I'm doing what I can. So you always have to just balance where you are and be realistic and try not to put too much pressure on yourself, because life's too short to beat yourself up for stuff that you don't have control over.
It's funny you should say that, B. I think I know exactly what you mean. I have no idea what my extra point is this week. I've been, I guess this is my get right with Jesus speech. Even though I fuck what that guy says, I don't care. I've had a lot of health issues this week, a lot of things. I spent half the day today in the ER because of health issues. When you're sitting there and you can't do anything, and you got 17 needles stuck in you, and face mask on and all kinds of bullshit, you have a lot of time to think. And I thought a lot about life as a whole and what's gotten me to the place I'm at now, what got me into that fucking hospital bed. I think about the things that are most important and how to focus on those things. So to Brian's point, it's very, I think it's vital, certainly for me and my health right now, but I think for everybody to really kind of take inventory of life and to really identify what those things are that are most important. And they're not always going to be the things that quote unquote should be most important, right? Like your job should be your most important thing. Well, I don't think so. Sorry, boss, if you're watching. Although I know you agree with me, probably. It's just not. Like that shouldn't be the most important thing, right? Like I should not have felt like I needed to rush back from the hospital in the ER where I thought maybe I was dying. And 15 minutes later, I'm on my fucking laptop doing work. In fact, it gets worse than that. I was on the hospital bed in the ER, emailing people at work on my fucking phone. It's not that fucking important. It's not. It can't be. It shouldn't be. Right? So take stock in your life and really look at what are the most important things and spend your energy on that. And I think that's the best lesson that I have. That's what's jumped out at me this week and today in particular is identifying those things that are most important and figuring out how you can put your time there. And if there are things that are sapping your energy, whatever the case may be, finding a way to limit those and push those aside because they're not that important. Like I still need to work, right? I can't just like quit my job and just get evicted and live out of my brand new car until they find me and repo it. Like that can't happen, but there are ways to mitigate that to some degree. So whatever that is for you, whether work is a bear and is dragging down on you, or it's family, or it's friends, or hell, it could be a loved one, right? It could be who you're in a relationship with. You know, sometimes it could be your side gig, right? Like streaming at times can be very draining. You wouldn't think so, right? I'm just playing games in front of people, but as an introvert, it's very draining to do that. Step away, find a way to make it work for you. Maybe do that less often. You know, maybe we started doing Watch Party Wednesdays on the stream, right? Because that gives me a day to kind of decompress and step away. So there's a lot of ways to do that. I'm running my damn mouth and I need to shut up, but take inventory, find out what's important, and put your focus on that. And that's what I got, B.
Sounds good. Well, as you know, loyal listener, you can put some priority and put some respect on our name on social media. So you can find us on Twitter. I am on Twitter at LandmarkMKE. Skonzi is at SKONZII. You can follow us as a brand at AQ_PROD. You can also find us on Facebook at AQPROD. You can find the podcast in Anchor or search We Random in your favorite podcast app. You can find Skonzi on Patreon if you would like to hear some of those extra time sessions that we record for the patrons every single weekend. You'll find those there. You'll also possibly get opportunities to participate in the random rankings in the future if we plan it in advance. You know, we random. So get in contact with us. Let us know what your thoughts are on the show. Let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about, what you don't like. You know, let us know about all of your conspiracy theories. We can't promise that we will indulge them, but you can let us know about them. And other than that, what else do you got, Christopher?
I've got nothing.
All right. Well, if you are satiated and the people know where to find us, we will say thank you and we will, log off for the day, so to speak. So I'm Brian. That's Christopher. Until we meet next time, stay safe, stay hungry, and we'll talk to you later.
See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.